Greetings, you human equivalents of a cheat day after being on a diet for far too long, and welcome back to Terratech with me, Elathrex, and of course, welcome back to our base, where today we are going to get a lot of stuff done. This will be one of the more heavily edited videos I've done in a while, because honestly, it's been way too long since one of those has happened, as our aircraft apparently just slides down the side of a cliff. Anyway, the two goals I want to do today is, first of all, I want to build a brand new craft, a very large craft, which is going to be an anti-gravity craft. It's been a very long time since I've built one of these. They're a little bit finicky, honestly, and normally you just use the hover glitch, but honestly, I just want to do this properly for once, and that is going to have the only purpose of collecting scrap, because scrap is really, really good in this game. Components are expensive, they're difficult to make, and these wastelands are one of my favourite, very weird looking biomes, so we can go from place to place, gathering all of that scrap, collecting it in the anti-gravity machine, and then taking it back to our base. It'll be our little spacecraft, designed purely to remove the refuge left behind by others. On top of that, there is a new weapon now from Reticule Research to harvest the scrap, rather than using the Better Future one, which is really good because, well, honestly, I just didn't like using the laser, to be perfectly frank. Now, I can't remember what it's called, though, because, to be honest, I do have the attention span of... sorry, what was I saying? So first things first, we need to make our anti-gravity machine in the first place, and that's going to be quite expensive, so I am going to finally do the story missions for Better Future, so let's get these all out of the way. Though while I'm flying over there, I do want to say something quickly. That last video I produced for Terratech, I've got to be honest, may be the first video in a long time on the channel I just really am not happy with. My time was very limited over the last few weeks. I just wanted to get a video done. I've looked back at it. I've also looked back on our laser craft I made, and I just don't like it. So I will be remaking the Hawkeye craft, probably the last of all the crafts, but that will be redone as time goes on. Ooh, scrap. Well, too bad. We're having fun with gathering scrap. It's a sad thought when you don't like a video, but hopefully you will enjoy it either way. So let's move on, and let's get lots and lots of stuff done. Hey everyone, Future Lathrix here, as is tradition now with these Terratech videos. Just here to say this video took a remarkably long amount of time to record, but was easily one of my favourite ones to make after a very long time. I am really happy with this one, and I really hope you enjoy our new anti-gravity collector. I definitely want to do a lot more anti-gravity stuff in the future, so I would love any suggestions for anti-gravity craft and what style of weapons or style of use they should really have. And of course, while I'm here, just a reminder that likes and comments really help out so much with this series, and for pretty much everything on the channel. It is still so lovely to see this series doing so well after the channel's been stagnant for ever so long. So thank you so much for all your support. I couldn't do any of this without all of that. And honestly, there's not much else to say, but back into the video, creating our new collector, and collecting far too many things. Now, back to the past. Say hi to Hubble, purchase this for way too much, and let the anti-gravity fly. This thing isn't balanced. If you try and move forwards with it, it actually spins. Oh, I hate this thing. On the upside, it gave us all the parts we need for the future, so that's good. Please don't be timed. That's all I ask, is don't be timed. Oh, we're so wibbly wobbly, we are a bag of jelly. Or jello. Oh, whatever your regional equivalent is. Oh! Did I just break? I managed to break it. Of course I did. On the upside, this apparently doesn't take too much power. So let's see what this thing's actually made of then. Where's the anti-grav? Okay, there it is. That can't be it. No, it's not just one of them. Where's the other? 2 pip engines? Oh! Yes. Yes, it was. Finally balanced the plane. How many of these do I need to do? It's probably drifting there. It always feels like I've been in this place before. And our little top hat drone comes first place out of 1. It's like winning an award if you're homeschooled. Anti-gravity time trial. Now, of course, we could just do this in a plane, but where is the fun in that? Oh, what a gorgeous bit of ice here. Okay, we kind of wish I was building here, but let's just ignore that for a second, because every time I see anything pretty, I want to build on it, apparently. I need to make my own little mini anti-grav vehicle, because honestly, I hated the one I just purchased. It was weirdly difficult to use. Or maybe it's just me, it's hard to tell. So I'm going to make an absolutely teeny tiny little flyer that defies the laws of gravity. It took me way too long to figure out what the issue was with that last craft and why it was so difficult to control, because after I built it just now, I was also having the same problems. It's this. It didn't have any of these, the passive gyros, because if you have the anti-grav and you're moving around, if you turn, you'll turn forever, and it's impossible to correct for that because you'll always overcorrect. But if you add a couple of these, the turning is more restrained, and it actually stops. And then this thing handles really, really well, really, really easily. Also, it doesn't seem to have an energy drain. It needed energy to start, but now I've been messing around with this for like 10 minutes, and I haven't had any energy drain, which is a bit weird. So this thing might not look like much, but it's called Totem, and it handles absolutely perfectly. That's the only thing it's been designed for, just really, really easy handleability, so I can get these missions done nice and quickly. Still absolutely no power drain on this thing, which is a really good news for the future, considering I'm building a very, very large anti-grav vehicle soon. And I was thinking I'd need loads and loads of batteries, and if that's not the case, well, I'll be very, very pleased. Yeah, this thing's an absolute joy to use. Sure, it looks like a weird pill, but you know what? Sometimes a weird pill is all you need. That is a weird thing to say. That was a satisfying end to that one. I think I'm going to make this silver from now on. Ooh. Tempting. So this should be the very last mission we need to do for Better Future before we're max rank. We're not done with Better Future by any stretch of the imagination at that point, but at least we have access to everything they can give us. Oh, that's a lot of damage coming from them. Hopefully we can core it out nice and quickly. That would be great. Oh, just about. Wow, like really just about. There goes my shields. Sure, I'm not happy with this craft overall, but it is a very fun thing to use. Oh, that's just mean. Can I split this thing into two? If I stay down here, can I maybe split it? Alas, no, but it did jump into everything I could possibly want there. Look at all of those parts which we're going to need for our next craft. And, of course, we got the payload terminal as well. So with that, we can also buy Better Future stuff. Of course, crafting it is still going to be our main goal, but being able to buy stuff will make things a lot easier. So I'm making the Precision Ray, which is going to be the weapon to harvest scrap, and we're going to quickly test that out. But I've decided what we're going to do is we're going to make our anti-grav chip in the creative mode. That way, I can actually figure out what I want. Then I'm going to build it all and collect it all in the normal mode. It just makes it a lot simpler. Not easier, but simpler, like me. So this is the precision laser. Can't really see it in the dark. Oh, it does a happy dance to attack. Huh. Well, that's neat. I wonder if we can hurt other things other than just the actual scrap. Either way, I'll wait until daytime so I can see what I'm doing, and then we'll go out and collect some scrap and see just how it works. Ah, that is fairly satisfying. So that just activates as soon as you get close to a bit of scrap. So I'm going to also have to make a little drone to actually collect all the stuff. So one large anti-grav vehicle with lots and lots of storage, and then a cute little drone I can just spawn and grab everything, then move the anti-grav over and over. The anti-grav has to have two simple rules. Super, super easy to use, because it's going to be moving from place to place a lot, and that's a lot of travel, and it needs to be a lot of storage. I want to be able to harvest multiple of these entire biomes every time I go on a run. So with that, I'm going to go over into the creative mode and make our little UFO harvesting vehicle. First choice we need to make then is how many of these lots of silos are we going to use. These can hold 90 resource chunks each. That is a lot of resource. But we also have to be able to drop the resource back at the base as well once we're done. So I'm thinking maybe we could go with 6 instead. So we have 3 here, 3 there. Then it'll be nice and easy to run a track down the middle with the option to activate the droppers. Maybe. I mean, this would be the easiest way, really. So these will collect unless you activate one of these. Then that will throw it down the conveyor. This conveyor then will converge into a dropper. That dropper just drops it into our resource hold. Then we just build all of this up and around with the Better Future stuff. I kind of want this mostly inside. I just need access to the filters so I can click them nice and easily. Since I don't really want to see this all that much. I want the domes and everything of Better Future. Basic battle plan before we get going then. We're going to have this as the start of the top section. This is going to be all accessible by air because with all the resource chunks and the speeds we're going to be moving, I don't want them to be compacted at all. Originally, I was going to make a true dome, but instead it's going to be mostly open with the walls on the sides built up a little bit more and lots of structures inside so it doesn't look just completely empty. Then, we're going to build a body down a little bit, which is going to then go into either a tripod or into 4 legs because I actually want this thing to land on the floor. I don't want it to use the sky anchors. Well, maybe I'll also use the sky anchors, but ultimately, I want it to be able to actually land, despite the fact it's going to be mostly anti-grav. It's going to be a very resource-intensive build, I think, and this is going to take a long time to sort out. But I like the idea of it. I also like the idea of the tripod element. I'm just not sure how I'm going to achieve that kind of style, whilst also having this resource conveyor going down and it not being a bit too obvious and weird. We'll see. I was just testing out the anti-grav and I completely forgot I need to be able to move back down. At the moment I can't. Hovercraft, please. Thank you. Down. Oh, yep, no gyros either. Well, it's fine. As long as we get close enough to the bottom, I can use the build beam. There we go. So, I did a few tests, and although building a tripod actually wouldn't be too difficult to do, I wasn't a big fan of how it looked, to be completely honest. But I do like the vibe more, so it's a bit of a battle there. I love the idea of the tripod, but this is going to look so much neater when it's all done, I think. I think I'm probably going to stick with this, but I might change my mind as we go. I can always build a small tripod later as an actual battleship, because at the end of the day, I still haven't built my proper Better Future craft yet, because I'm not going to count this as the proper craft. This is just one of our tech crafts. Okay, good news. There's a lot of range on these grabbers. So any of our scrappers which let go of stuff around here, we can easily grab with this before we fly off back to the base. Lovely. Linear motion machines in place, so now we can automate its movement nice and easily. We have some gyros, we have the computer set up so it's all nice and stable when it's staying still. The one problem I'm foreseeing is landing this thing and accidentally having it hurt itself, because these are just normal blocks on the bottom. So maybe landing strips mixed in, but I don't think that would look very good. No, I actually know exactly what we should do there. Lathrix suddenly had what we would call an idea. If we go over to wheels in the Hawkeye territory, we have the landing skids, and I think these could blend in a little bit better than some of the others. I did think they had bigger versions than that, though. They do have these. And then suddenly, each of the 4 legs have little mini legs. Not too keen on how that looks, actually. Lathrix's idea, like most of his ideas, just failed. Though we could still have some of the normal skis just in the center, because, yeah, otherwise we're going to end up hurting ourselves a lot. And the way we're anchoring currently is literally just having the linear motion machine point down and push the whole thing down. I'll fix it in a second. Now I'm going to start adding some of the thrusters and start concealing all this on the top. Still, I think it's going to be nice and smooth. Movement's going to be all well and good. I am a little bit freaked out by how smooth it looks when it's moving. I've got to be honest. I'm tempted to remove some of the gyros to give it a little bit of a wobble, just so I'm less freaked out. Because that is just weird. Okay, I'm kind of sold on these. I don't like the exact shape they are. I wish that was just a bit more square to go with everything else before we smooth it off. But these are the Geocorp landing skis. Nice and simple. They move straight down like that. They do make us a bit slippy. They do make us very slippy. Okay, so I think I probably will have to use the sky anchor as well, just to make sure we don't move too much. But, yeah, as long as I stop moving forwards before I start landing, this really shouldn't be an issue. So, like, if I completely stop still, then I move down at full speed, so this is the worst case scenario. Yeah, perfect. Need to start making these legs a bit more smoothed out. So I could make this a lot smoother by actually using the proper piece here, but just using this little corner piece, I really like how that looks. It's all bubbly. And we like bubbles here at Lathrix. Meant to say Laughlin, but you know what? Here at Lathrix, the new organisation, just literally my name, we like bubbles. I'll do the opposite underneath as well, remove some of the normal blocks. Yeah, okay. I'm going to probably skip ahead quite a bit now, because it's going to be just me messing around with stuff like this for a while, trying to figure out how I actually want this thing to look. I'm also tempted to move all these one down, which would be annoying, because it's literally taking it all apart and remaking it, but I'm not too sure. I mean, I kind of like how stout it looks. I can always extend it later. Let me know what you think. This would make such a fun gun platform. Just sorting out the controls now, and yep, it's now super stable. And any weapon would be so fun to use on this thing. You know, I haven't really used missiles yet. I'll resist. This isn't a weapon of war. Though I am tempted by an anti-grav weapon of war at some point. Overall, really happy with this thing so far. It's almost done as well. I really am struggling to decide if I'm going to add any weapons to this thing, because what I could do is add some basic weaponry, basically missiles or something where I could just place them wherever, and then give this thing a basic AI, the defender cab or something like that, so then when I'm in my drones harvesting, this thing can then fire away and defend itself. Or, I could go down the route of simply spawning in turrets. So we have this, and then every time I land, I just quickly throw down a few turrets nearby. This isn't a turret, but you get the idea. And then it will defend itself, or be defended, until we then lift off again. And actually, that's a lot cooler, isn't it? I'm going to design a better future turret. That's exactly what I'm going to do. And I want it to be nice and small and cheap, and I want to be able to spawn at least 3 of them in to make a triangle around this thing. But that's after I build this. I've got to finish soon, because it's going to get so expensive, this thing's going to take days to make. So, here we are. I really like how the legs have turned out. I like how the top section's turned out. I like how it looks like it's kind of a frame around this core bit over here, which I really like. I want to attach these two a little bit closer to each other, and I think I need to cover up these corners at very least. I love seeing all the technical stuff, but for once, I'm going to cover all this section, this section, this section, this section. Then I'm going to say it's done, and we're going to get into the campaign again, along with making a quick turret, which of course won't take all that long anywhere near in comparison to this thing. I'm very happy with this, honestly. There's not much on the top, it's a bit too flat right now, but we can always add stuff later. I need to stop now because we need to be able to build this in the first place. We can then start adding stuff as we use it. But this is all the basic stuff done. We can still see inside through these like little grates. It looks like it's got some ventilation. I like how all of the solar panels come out. This bit will be exposed only when flying, which again, I quite like the idea of. And it's going to have enough power as well. It can easily power the other turrets. I just need to very quickly test out to make sure this thing can handle all the resource. So I'm going to completely fill it full of resource and then drop everything off, making sure I can fly, I can land, and we don't run into any major issues. Well, there's not much to look at, but it'll certainly work. So we have lots of Hawkeye stuff here, a little bit of armor from Better Future, and we even have some missiles. Good range. 5 batteries, big shield, can take power from the scrapper. So we want 3 of these. This is going to be a lot of crafting, and that's exactly what I'm going to do now. So be right back into the campaign itself, because we've got a lot of building to do to get these things functional. No issues at all with the resources at full speed. We could actually probably go a bit faster. I'll have to test that out later. Only thing we need to test out now is the dropper. Dropper works perfectly. We're back, and now I'm probably going to skip several hours worth of crafting and buying items. Also, as you can see, I did kind of mess up the track at one point, but that's going to be fixed in just a moment. 1 scrap guard. 2 scrap guards. Honestly, the base is working perfectly right now, but it's not ideal. I'm not happy with it, so I'm probably going to tear a lot of this out in the future. All of the rest of the infrastructure is going to stay. This is probably going to be torn out, plus I want a whole other section which converts excess resource into blocks. So, yeah, a lot of things I still need to do on the base, so don't you worry, this base is like maybe 15% done. Now I have 3 scrap guard. I'm going to put them down here for now until we go out. This is the only section, really, of the base right now until we expand it further, which is really, really vulnerable. So, for now, I'm just going to do this. I really wish I started off in guard mode. I think you can do that in the manage text option anyway, but since we're here, there we go. So 3 turrets to defend our bridge for the time being, and now to build the main thing, which is going to be a nightmare. Let me tell you. How many blocks are we missing? The answer is yes. Actually, that's not as bad as I thought. It's atrocious, but not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Okay. Probably the last clip I'll include of fabricating. One thing I need to do is move this backtrack here away from all the silos. That's what's causing the odd random bit of resource to end up in the wrong silo type. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't affect the workings of everything. But it annoys me. Lovely. Okay, the actual final clip now whilst crafting everything. The only thing I found irritating so far is the mass production of things like the 1 block. So I've purchased all the really cheap stuff, but I'm making the more expensive stuff. Because making the expensive stuff going through the list is oddly zen. Just going through one by one, removing all of these. We're about halfway done now. Really should put a shielded SCU down there. Every time I want to do something, it's nighttime apparently, but after a very long time, ta-da, we have our scrapper. So that thing's now able to fly away, and it will be doing so very, very soon, as soon as it's daytime. We've got all of our turrets already packed away, and that's about it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going until I have 500 component parts. That is to say, every single one of these silos is going to be full before I return to the base, and that's going to allow us to build things for a very, very long time. Next episode is purely going to be base building, absolutely nothing else, so we really do need all these components because everything needs them, which I want to mess around with. We want some proper permanent defense turrets, and I would also like to get a start on building one of our energy plants on one of the geothermal areas over there. Or we could build more bridges. Don't know, but lots of stuff's going to be built next time. But I am so happy with this weird thing. Obviously, the very first place I need to reharvest is the zone we're in currently. After that, it's going to be quite a few different places, I imagine. There we are. Protectors are operational. Going to quickly throw down a new tech with the new harvesting item. Honestly, this is going to be a tiny little agile tech with just a single Lotsa silo on it. And then I'll harvest this zone. At some point, I think I got confused and accidentally mixed up how many items are in the Lotsa silos, because I'm fairly certain I've said that the craft over there can hold 300, which isn't the case. I think I thought these only held 50 each. No, these hold 90 each. So a lot more than that. I changed up my drone a little bit, so this is how it is, and this makes sure that none of the items end up on the floor. It's all nice and simple. This thing's actually decently quick, it's easy to turn, and can get away from a fight nice and fast if it needs to. It even has a tiny little missile pod for some basic defense. But this area now completely drained of resource once again. So now we need to go to another wasteland biome. This world will be harvested. And so we go again. And finally, our little harvester. So I'll just be repeating this over and over again until either this thing fills up or it is pretty much daylight outside. It's currently 2 AM and yeah, this is taking a bit longer than I expected. There's a good chance this is going to continue to take even longer. But I am having a lot of fun. Probably shouldn't go into combat with this little thing. Sure, it does have some basic missile systems, but, you know, no shields or armor. Slightly overestimated just how many are in each of these zones. This entire zone was harvested every last node, and between the last two, we haven't quite filled up one silo. 3 zones stripped bare, 1 full silo, a tiny little bit extra. 1 more zone stripped bare, and wow, we are getting so little per time. But still, the second one is now almost complete. Oh, is it actually? No, not quite. Okay, almost 2 of the lots of silos are now finished. We move on. Getting a little bit repetitive at this point. But I'm determined to get at least a good chunk more than this. At least 300, like one of my original estimates, but hopefully the full thing. We'll see how much mind I have. And number 6. Number 6 complete. We're definitely over the 300 mark now, with 3 of them already complete and 1 about a quarter done, a third done. We need to continue. I need to get all of them. Number 7. 8 done, 1 or 2 left. And now with counting with Lathrix, number 9. Number 9 complete. This has to finish now on number 10. And with number 10 finished, and the components now going all the way to the very front with 1 even spare, we have 541 component parts, which means in the next video, all we're going to be doing is building up our base. With all of these components and all the resources we now have, it'll be very easy to finally extend our base and start adding some new stuff. Maybe a proper landing section, maybe just upgrading the factory, maybe some more bridges and more turrets. There is a lot we need to do. I've really enjoyed today's video. I absolutely love this craft, I love the turrets, and will definitely be using them more soon in the future. My voice is now breaking, so with that, if you have enjoyed today's video, then of course, likes, favourites, shares, comments, all that good stuff, helps out me, helps out the channel, and most importantly, shows that Terratech is a series you wish to see continued in the future. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.